there's some YouTubers that I enjoy watching that were also ex-evangelicals, and one of them told a story about how him and his cousin used to say that they were cousins in life but brothers in Christ, and that is still less cringy than what we watched in this movie.
Wow. We should put a lot of content warnings on this episode.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I'll just record it now so you guys can put it in. If boat fucking, if pornography, if white savior narratives, and bad movies are anything that bug you, just watch Narnia instead.
Welcome to Bible Boys, a podcast where two ex-evangelical siblings and an ex-Catholic non-sibling watch Christian media and either praise or condemn it. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Michael.
Join us this week as we watch the 2008 firefighter marriage drama, Fireproof. Before we learn how to save a marriage in 40 days, please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, like and comment on our video, and follow us on Twitter at The Bible Boys. Oh, well, sorry guys.
Don't you love that it actually takes, fun fact, it takes longer to save a marriage than it does to create the earth?
That's an interesting point.
I don't know what that means for society or for Christianity. Nothing good. Also, this movie taught me a lot. I'm a new man. I'm ready to love. But also, we're going to be talking about boat prices this episode, which was not something I was expecting.
Okay. I guess we're going to talk about boat prices. Are we indexing them to inflation from 2008?
No, because these are cheaper. And our economy hasn't deflated.
I just had a flash of insight about how the 2008 financial crisis would have affected Caleb Holt's family had he bought that boat, and now I'm just like, wow, dude really dodged a bullet. Jesus was really looking out for him.
Yeah, Jesus got his back on this boat. Aaron, why'd you make us watch this movie that I watched when I was 8 years old?
Because I've never seen it. I think it's hysterical that both of you have seen it, but I've never seen this film until yesterday.
This was, I believe, a church movie. It might just be a Brian Greene, look, I found a movie.
Nope.
Is this a Stephanie Greene, I found a movie?
Wrong parent. Yep. Wrong parent.
God.
Yeah.
Of all the bad rom-coms I've watched with my mother, this one is possibly the worst.
Is there calm?
There is one character that I thought was okay.
There's occasional rom. There's a little bit of rom, if you're into that kind of thing. I didn't find a lot of
I don't
calm.
really know that there's all that much rom.
I hate how much money this fucking movie made.
We're going to talk about the production at the end, because there are some reasons that movie did so well.
Let's just dive into it. Aaron, this was your movie, so you walk us through this. Saying plot seems insulting. Walk us...
There are characters, and they move through a story.
It's like an allegory.
Nothing is like an allegory. This movie doesn't believe in allegories, I don't think. It is as straightforward as possible. So, we begin 25 years in the past. And we get this conversation between Catherine as a child and her mother. And Catherine says to her mother, "I want to marry Daddy." And that's kind of sets the tone for how this movie is gonna go.
And then
Yeah, if you listen to our episode about the 101 questions about the Bible and Christianity, you know how it opened with incest? Yeah, we know exactly what we're getting with this. This one, incidentally, also opens with incest.
So many Christian stories are not willing to tell the back half of the Sodom and Gomorrah story. And I just think it's so brave that we get to find out what between Lot and his daughters, what actually happens.
Great. Good. Yeah, I mean, it's very clearly like, oh, this is Daddy's little girl, and she wants to marry a man just like her dad, because her dad's so great. She does say a very funny line, because her mom's like, no, I'm married to him, sweetheart. And she's like, well, when you're done with him, can I have him?
I loved that.
like he's some sort of like sloppy seconds for her mom. Like, what the fuck?
Like it's like a hand-me-down shirt or something.
When you're sick and tired of that, send that right down my way.
Anyway, so we get introduced to Lieutenant Caleb Holt, played by one Kirk Cameron, and we see that he is a firefighter, and he's the captain of this particular firefighter unit, and he's a good guy. We can see that he's a good guy. All his men respect him, and he has a good rapport with them. But, the most important thing we learn is that you never leave your partner, especially in a fire. And that's going to be an important theme, sort of, as much as this movie has themes throughout this film. We also learned that his wife, Catherine, the aforementioned daddy marrier, is a high-powered businesswoman who works public relations at a hospital, what is called Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital, which we'll get to at the end of the show. So yeah, she makes a lot of money, and that is a contentious thing in their marriage. But we also learned that her mom had a stroke a year ago, and she can't talk anymore, and insurance is very expensive. And for a brief glimmer of a second, I was like, maybe they're going to talk about how like the healthcare industry is actually terrible and needs to be destroyed. And then she bumps into Dr. Keller / Gavin, and we see that she thinks he's hot, and like that's going to be a problem.
And can we talk about how he's a thumb?
Sorry.
Like
he's shaped like a thumb.
No, like as a man, he has like the personality and like sex appeal of a thumb.
Just like her father.
You're not wrong. Dr. Keller's main personality trait is that he is a man.
Yeah. You know what? It's actually refreshing that a male character gets boiled down to just being their gender. We see it all the time in fiction where the woman is girl, and in this case, this doctor is man.
I would argue that they also do that to Catherine and Caleb.
I mean, the writing in this is abysmal.
Catherine is girl boss.
Catherine,
because she wears a suit.
Yes, she has a blazer, and then that makes her evil.
We have Caleb, who's Gaslight.
He is Gaslight. Speaking of that, so we get to this scene where we set up the relationship. Catherine is just like, oh, well, you never help me with the groceries, even though you have 48 hours off after you work for 24. And, I never know when you're coming home. You don't communicate. And we don't have very much money. That's why I'm working this high-powered job. And he's like, well, I want to buy a boat, so fuck you.
He wants to buy a $24,000 boat. My guy, I got a boat... I got a boat right here, $12,000. It's a nice 24-footer. It's off of eBay. You're probably going to have to go get it. But you know what? No welds, no wood, no carpet, missing parts. It'll be fine. Listen, with that $10,000 you're going to save, you get to put in that work. It becomes your boat.
I just also don't understand, like, she's, like, listing all of these repairs the house needs, and he's like, but I want my boat. Those sound like, oh, what did he call them? He was basically saying they were frivolous, and I'm like, and a boat isn't?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm going to be referencing YouTuber Maggie Mayfish, because I watched her video essay on this movie, but she talks about how, like, Catherine is very much what evangelical men think women are all about, and all the things that she wants are, like, adding new cabinets to a closet or to the kitchen, and, like, repainting the door, and, like, cooking things, because she's a woman, and that's what women want. But yeah, they set up the fact that they're just having a bad their relationship is in a bad spot, and that sort of sets the tone for the movie. So we get the shot of like him talking to his friend Michael, who is another firefighter who has a good relationship with his wife, and he gives him some marriage advice, which is God damn it, Josh's audio has been cutting out constantly. Josh, did you hear any of that?
Not a word. I haven't heard anything from since my boat rant.
Good. Great.
Just keep going. I'm sure y'all made some great points.
This is going well. So, Josh, if I told you that a woman was like a rose, and that if you treated her right, she'll bloom, but but if she didn't, she would wilt, would you think that's good dating advice? He left the call. He had to leave the podcast.
He hung up. He was like, absolutely not. He hung up on us. So, yeah, that's the answer.
So we see that, he gets this great dating advice from his friend Michael, but he comes home one night and he just gets in this huge fight with Catherine, and like she sets him off because she's like, oh, you keep looking at trash on the internet, which is of course meant to mean he's addicted to internet pornography, which we'll get to when we actually see it depicted. But
hot singles in your area.
He's lost his identity. That's why they're having money problems. But like this fight they have goes from like people being mean to each other to full on like, call the police, this man is going to murder me. Like it is upsetting. Like if this had happened more than once in this movie, I don't think I would have continued watching it because it is so bad.
It's unsettling.
It's real rough.
And it's also this might be too harsh to say. I'm just warning you, future whomever is editing this. But this is the only good acting ? Our boy Kirk does. So that's concerning. The only believable emotion I have seen from him.
Oh God, you're completely right, because like you see the way when he turns on the switch and becomes just hugely upset, like he does all this shit like where he like slams his fist into the wall next to her. He like backs her up against a wall and like screams in her face, and then she like can't look at him. And he just screams at her like, look at me, and like that kind of behavior is exactly what you would expect from somebody who does that behavior. So like, good job, Kirk. At this, I mean, it was very believable, but it was also just horrible. And she was like, yeah, I actually want out now. I would like to get a divorce. And you know what, Catherine? That's fair.
I too would file for divorce.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where I was like, Jesus Christ, get out of there, lady. Get out of there.
Yeah, stay sexy, don't get murdered, to reference a different podcast, but it's time to go. That man is you're going to end up in his freezer. You're ending up off of his boat.
Yeah, that's what he wants the boat for.
Mm-hmm. It's a murder boat.
Oh my God, it's a murder boat.
He goes outside because he's so angry, and he just kicks the shit out of his trash can. And there's this recurring character, which is his neighbors, who anytime he does violence to something outside, his neighbors are just there like looking at him, like have this full-blown like anger attack, and they're just like, it's played as a joke, but like, I don't know, if that happened to me, if my neighbor was doing that, I would be very upset.
I would be perturbed, like, what is happening?
Anyway, so we get a shot, I mean, it's really just for padding, but like we see this moment where they respond to this car accident. There's been a car accident, and his firefighter unit has to go and move this car off these train tracks. And like, for me, this moment kind of worked because of like, there's this moment where like they're trying to like literally push the car off the tracks, and Michael, the aforementioned like friend with a good marriage, like gets his helmet knocked off by the train because it's coming that close. And like, that kind of worked for me. Like, I mean, of course I knew that it wasn't going to end badly because that's not this kind of movie, but like, I don't know, I thought the framing and like narrative and pacing of it was like pretty good.
I did think that this was the halfway point. So I was like, oh, cool. We can just like continue to cruise. This feels like a halfway point, and this will be wrapped up very quickly. This comes in like the 30-minute mark.
This is a 2-hour movie, so yeah, not even close.
Mike was hoping that we watched like a long short film that was 45 minutes long.
I was like, great, he learned his lesson. End credits. Even though I knew I've seen this movie more than once.
No,
but
it's bad.
Hope springs eternal, right?
So his friend Michael, they're debriefing afterwards, and he's like, man, aren't you afraid to die? Yeah, Caleb is. And Michael's like, well, no, because I know where I'm going, and like, I'm right with the Lord and everything. So like we understand that he's a Christian, and that's where his good marriage comes from, is him being a Christian. And then there's like a brief aside about, you know, where all the firemen are like, oh, do you know where I'm going? Because like one of the firemen's like, I'm going in the ground. And I liked that.
I did like that.
It's just the honesty I gotta respect.
It's very refreshing. So then we get introduced to Caleb's parents, Caleb's dad and Caleb's mom. I don't know what their names are. But like he's talking about how they're going to get a divorce and like everything's gone wrong. And his mom is just like constantly being like, well, I mean, I think you need to like help her with the groceries and like, you know, get involved and like communicate more. And he is just such a fucking dick to his mom. He's just like, Mom, I really don't need to be nagged right now. Just, can I talk with Dad alone, please? Like he kicks his mom out of this conversation. Like he sucks so bad.
Oh, he's fucking awful.
It's really one of those, like, we see him, how he treats his wife and his mother. There's no other read on this other than he's a virulent misogynist. There's literally no other read. The only women he interacts with, he treats like garbage.
But don't worry, there's an arc.
Yep, that'll come back. Don't worry about it. But his dad's like, okay, so here's the thing, Caleb. When your mom wanted to divorce me, I was like, no, we gotta stay together. We gotta make this work. And he said he was gonna do this thing called the Love Dare, which is a 40-day marriage challenge. And he tasks Caleb with delaying his divorce for 40 days. So that way, you know, if this challenge works, they can save their relationship and everything will be great. And he's like, okay, fine. I guess I'll do this. We get a quick aside of Catherine getting, like, quote-unquote romanced by this Dr. Gavin. He literally just, like, asks to sit down with her, and they talk. And, you know, he says that her outfits are sexy or something. It's really bad. And, again, like Michael said, the dude's a fucking blank wall of a character.
I do just want to drop this real quick. Michael, do you know this is an actual book?
Yeah, the only research I did was that this is an actual book, so I have more on that later.
Okay, I just wanted to drop a quick review that I found for this book. And this is from Helen. And it just says, loved it. And then underneath it says, I gave this as a wedding gift to my coworker. She loved it. Helen said,
that is the shadiest shit.
Helen said,
Helen, bless your heart.
Your relationship is gonna fail if you don't tighten it up. Tighten it up from Helen.
Oh, Christ.
You haven't even been on your honeymoon yet. Why do you need 40 days to save your marriage?
Good God.
Oh my God, so fucking good.
So we get this like summary of like what happens, like what the thing is about. So like one of the days is like, okay, just if you're gonna say something mean to your partner, just don't say anything at all. And we get a shot of Caleb being like his wife is just like, oh, well, I thought that you were just gonna, you know, crank it again on the internet today, and he doesn't say anything, and like we're supposed to interpret that as character growth. And then he's like, he pours her coffee. And she's like, oh, I don't have time for coffee. And she just like leaves. And then he pours the coffee out. And then he goes back and pours the whole pot out, which is really good.
The bar is on the fucking floor, gentlemen. The bar is so goddamn low.
When that's like the punchy, like, ha 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 moment.
Oh, just like, look at this man try. He made his wife coffee. Oh my God! This movie made me want to never get married.
It is certainly an argument against the institution. We get, however, my favorite character in this film, who is named Wayne. He serves no narrative purpose whatsoever, except for to pad for time, and I am so grateful for his existence.
I'm so confused as to why he's in this movie.
So he's this, like, rookie firefighter, and they do pranks on him. Like, they tell him to go look for the hose stretcher, which is, like, a joke, because the fireman is the hose stretcher. And, like, Kirk is like, okay, you're getting cocky, Wayne. Let's do a challenge. And he pretends to drink all this hot sauce, but it's actually tomato sauce. And then Wayne actually drinks the tomato sauce, and later he reveals... And I wish they had paced this bit better, but like, you know, later on, Caleb admits that it was tomato sauce, and he's like, "Oh, I don't get it." And then like immediately the next scene, it's like, "It was tomato sauce." Like he wakes up in the middle of the night, and I wish they had just like set that back like 20 minutes later, because like I think that delay would have made it so much funnier.
Yeah, and they had plenty of time. It's not like they were, in a rush.
No, but they do weird pranks on him, but like Wayne is just like a silly, goofy guy who doesn't know anything and doesn't add anything to the story. But I am glad he was there, because otherwise this would have just been a fucking lead brick of a movie.
God, yeah, he was like the one shining himbo that we just all needed to get through this garbage time.
Yeah. So he gets to the halfway point, and he's supposed to make his wife a fancy dinner. And she's like, "Wow, this is a very strange thing that you're doing. You've never done this before. My friends are all advising me that, my black friends, I should be clear, the black people, they make a lot of the black people out in this movie to be like, oh, he's only, manipulating you and trying to get more money in the divorce and, getting in on her, like, weird affair with Gavin. But, like, it sucks.
And let's just be very clear. They're all caricatures. Like, none of the black characters in this film serve anything other than to be, like, the sassy black friends to this white girl.
Exactly.
And it's not shocking, but it's still problematic, and we should call it out. It's not shocking at all. Like, least shocking character development ever, but...
This entire movie does include a lot of, like, haha, my black best friend sidekick, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I thought we would get out of that once we stopped watching God's Not Dead, but here we fucking are.
No. So anyway, she's like, okay, let me be clear. I do not love you, which, like, you know what? Good for you, girl. Like, be honest. Be like, hey, I see what you're trying to do, and I'm not here for it. I'm done with this marriage. Caleb is so upset by this that he takes a baseball bat to his garbage can, which, like, not especially great either. But then he calls his dad, and he's like, it's not working. And his dad's just like, it was the hardest at the halfway part for me and your mom too. We gotta stick with it. And they say the thing that, like, they make this point because she's like, oh, she says she doesn't feel any love for me anymore, and like I don't feel anything for her either. And he's like, his dad's like, well, love's not based on feelings. And here's the thing, I'm gonna upset a lot of folks with this. I don't think that's necessarily bad relationship advice. I think that it is very important for you to have a base of, both friendship attraction and romantic attraction if you do want to get married to someone. Either or both, but you have to have some feelings there. But like, there is a significant part of relationships that are about work, and I wish that maybe this film had focused a little bit more on that and less on Christianity. But that's not what this film is about. But
also their version of work is like really asinine.
It's so frustrating because in all of these things, conversations about love and commitment with another person they act as if when you get married to someone that you've never had a relationship with another human being. Like the idea that you don't always love the person you're in a relationship with. Like, relationships don't just mean kissing and smooching. Like, boys, this podcast is technically a relationship. We all work together. We're friends. Some of us are siblings. Some of us aren't. I don't love you guys all the time. Then again, I've never left a podcast. Well, I've never left most podcasts and taken a baseball bat to my trash cans while my neighbors looked on and went, oh boy.
Listen, don't make a promise on that, because I found out who produced this movie, and they have several other films. So.
Oh, I've seen them.
Oh, Christ. Good.
If you do this, I'm going to start picking horror movies.
Oh, Christ.
Yay, do it!
Fucking Cold War, this motherfucker. But yeah, it's like the idea that someone goes, yeah, sometimes in your relationship, you're not going to like or have like strong attraction feelings to the other person that you were with all the time. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you're not gonna like someone if you spend all day with them. And I agree that like love is a commitment and all that good stuff. Y'all don't like each other. Y'all don't like each other. I don't know how to tell you this. Dude's not paying for your mother's medical bills because he wants a boat with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Divorce his ass.
Yeah. Yes. Unfortunately, we don't get that happy ending. We do... Okay, we need to talk about expectations for pornography in a relationship, because that is like one of the main bases of their fight. She's like, you don't understand how humiliated it makes me feel when you look up that trash on the internet. And you know what? I think that is a fair position to have if you establish that early on in your relationship. If you are uncomfortable with your partner viewing pornography, you need to tell them that, and you need to, be upfront about that, because like, if you're not trying to get in a long-term relationship with with a person who has the same kind of values as you, it's not going to work. Like, listen, I'm upfront with my pornography usage with my wife, and, but that's just how it has to be, right? I'm not saying that, everybody should use pornography, but like, if you do, talk to your partner about it and see how they feel. That's all I'm saying.
Well, also, she has remarkably puritanical views about pornography, given that it's been established she is not an evangelical. Like, she already has the evangelical position to it, and that's something I couldn't square away. Like, I have friends who have been in the church, out of the church, all of the above. And I don't know that I've ever met someone that's, like, atheist or agnostic or, like, not even just, like, progressive Christian who has this puritanical of all or nothing, right? Because, like, it's not even just pornography. It's not like we went into, like, oh, he's watching, like, women be tortured and getting off to it. Like, there are gradations here. It's not, like, bad or good. There are shades of gray. And I don't know. I mean, this film was not interested in having that interesting discussion. But also, it's like, no one I know sees it black and white except for evangelical Christians.
I have 2 quick points. The first one being it was 2008. Dude was just happy that it downloaded that quick. The second point was I have met people, Michael, that were not evangelical and that were like, yeah, they killed my body. And most of the time, that was a huge red flag for, like, other things. So the second she said this, and then the subplot with her and the doctor friend, where I was like, oh, she's a narcissist. That's cool. She sucks, and so does he. They both, you know what? They deserve each other. Let them
match made in hell.
Like every straight couple I've ever seen above the age of 35. Let them torture each other until they're both dead. Love is not real. This movie bummed me the fuck out.
Anyway, Casting Crown's slow fade begins to play. As we transition to the next scene.
God damn it, I was trying to drink some water.
Love to waterboard Josh on the podcast. Yeah, we do. This is the scene where we do get like the shot of the kind of porn he's looking at, which is not porn as much as it is just those pop-up ads that's like hot singles in your area now.
He could have been clicking anything. He could have been shopping for a boat and that popped up. Those ads will find you.
He was shopping for a boat when that popped up is the thing. There's more pictures of boats than there are of boobs.
So really his life's like that trash on the internet and we're all assuming it's porn and it's actually the boat. She does not care about the porn. It's only the boat.
Dude's jacking it to boat pics. He's got a very specific kink. In the Navy.
She's so over the boat.
Yeah, it's great. At this point, he calls his dad and he's like, Dad, this isn't going very well. And he's like, well, you have to read the Bible verses at the bottom. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And like his dad like drives 4 hours to go see him and have this talk at this like old Christian day camp and like literally lean against a cross while he tells him that, God's standards are so high that even though, Kirk Cameron is like saving people from burning buildings, he's still going to go to hell. So you gotta also convert to evangelical Christianity if you want this thing to work.
Do you think him leaning on a cross was a symbol? I couldn't tell.
I don't follow. What would it be symbolizing? It's the scene
in the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion. There's a shot of Genji, who is like the bad dad guy, and he's got his fucking hands crossed in front of his face, and there's the shadow of a big fucking cross in the background. And I was like, wow, this is not a subtle show, huh? And then I watched this where the dad is literally leaning against the cross with the sun streaming in from the background. I was like, Jesus.
So just to clarify, make sure I understand the same analogy, this is similar to how Aslan got was killed on the stone table in order to save Lucy's life, correct?
Oh no, it is an allegory.
I cannot, but honestly, I'm surprised Narnia has gone this deep into popular culture that their evangelical Christians are referencing it in their movies.
Oh, Christ.
Also, the fact that they make him look like Jesus is fucking insane to me, especially with the reveal later in the movie.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
It just, I don't know. This movie said fuck women and boats, but literally fuck boats, metaphorically fuck women.
Okay, so Caleb / Kirk Cameron is like, all right, here's the thing. I'm going to devote my life to Christ. And Michael, the aforementioned friend, I didn't mention that, but Michael's also black. And this is going to become relevant in about 5 seconds because he tells Michael, I'm in. And Michael's like, you're in. And Kirk's like, I'm saying I'm all in. And then Michael says, you're my brother from another mother, but now we got the same father. And I wrote, fuck off with 30 Fs because it made me so mad.
This is actually when I closed my laptop and said, I'll watch the rest of this tomorrow.
Cringing that I did.
So this was almost the end of my knowledge of this movie for our watch through because I literally just closed my laptop and was like, nope.
There's some YouTubers that I enjoy watching that were also ex-evangelicals, and one of them told a story about how him and his cousin used to say that they were cousins in life but brothers in Christ, and that is still less cringy than what we watched in this movie.
Wow. We should put a lot of content warnings on this episode.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I'll just record it now so you guys can put it in. If boat fucking, if pornography, if white savior narratives, and bad movies are anything that bug you, just watch Narnia instead. The actual movie, not our podcast review of it.
No, watch our podcast review. That was a good one.
So he does a rescue at one point. He saves a girl from a fire. And he goes to the hospital where his wife works, and his wife looks at him covered in soot and bleeding from his arm, and she's like, "You look terrible," which is extremely funny. And also the doctor treating him is Dr. Gavin, who's romancing his wife, so it's oh, irony.
Was that irony? That word's doing a heavy lift there, Aaron.
I don't know. It's something. I'm trying to think of an appropriate literary term to apply to that situation.
No, it's like the Shakespeare, the type of irony where the audience knows something, but the dramatic irony. The Shakespeare thing. I don't know. He didn't even write those fucking plays.
He wasn't even real.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Shakespeare was a conglomeration of bad English people. Anyway,
a concept.
Bill.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying Bill.
Oh, Bill.
I don't want to talk about this movie. I'm done with this movie. I've clocked out.
No, we have to. We're so close to the finish line. Why are you making our podcast longer than the movie?
And when I looked back at this podcast, there were only 2 sets of footprints. And I asked Michael and Aaron, why did you abandon me at the time I needed you most? And they said, fuck you, we wanted to finish it 30 minutes ago.
You actually left. You didn't look at the third set of footprints where you just dove into the ocean for 30 minutes.
Trying to drown yourself like the dude from Silence.
No, there's a track in the sand for where we dragged you.
So we get the scene where Kirk finally decides to say no to all these fucking computer vixens. and he goes Office Space on his computer and just obliterates it in the front yard, which is really funny.
There just has to be a better way
Maybe
to remove temptation.
donate it. What's when iPhones come out, this dude's fucked. This dude is absolutely. When he goes on
iPhones come
TikTok
out this year, so like, yeah, their marriage is not going to last much longer.
Those TikTok girls are gonna fuck him up. Some of them are on boats.
God, it's really good. So anyway, he realizes that, you know, his wife like is sick, and he goes in and he's like doing nice things for her, and he's like checking on her and taking her temperature, and she talks about how the fact that he found the book, or she found his dad's, you know, copy of the book that he wrote down, and she's like, oh yeah, how long have you been doing this love dare thing? And he's like, 43 days, and she's like, but there's only 40, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And she's like, wow, this was so profound.
I was kind of hoping he started over, so he stopped doing all of the 39 things, and now he's like, I'm not gonna say anything mean to her, and that's the only fucking thing I'm doing today.
I would love that, actually.
Every 40 days you get a great husband.
For one day.
One day you get the good Christian husband that you always wanted.
Okay, so here's the thing where this movie almost got me, but like she goes to like talk to her parents' like medical supplier or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, well somebody paid for, you know, all of their, you know, this new bed that your mom needed and like all these new medical supplies. And she's like, oh wow, this is great. This was, you know, what, $24,300? That's incredible. Thank you so much. It must have been Gavin. And like, I knew it was Kirk. But like,
what if it hadn't been?
There was a moment where they set it up where it like definitely, because like they have Gavin be like, oh yeah, no, you're welcome for the money I donated. It was the least I could do.
Okay, I love that you said that moment almost got you, because I was like, wow, none of these people should play poker and none of them should be actors. Because the actor playing Gavin not only sounded surprised in character, but out of character. Like, oh, yeah, sure, I paid for that. Got it. Cool. Did it. I'm great, right? And it's like, okay, you're not even acting like you're sure of yourself. You're like doubting the line that you're reading.
Michael, imagine someone wanted you to read that line. You'd also be like, is this the fucking line you guys want me? I don't think he's doubting the number. He's doubting every decision in his life that led him to be in this role.
I hope so. I mean, I legitimately watched this and went, I hope Gavin never plays poker. He's gonna lose so much money.
Oh, well, he wasn't doing that on the computer.
Well, Gavin does lose about $300 because it is revealed later on when she's like, oh, she goes back to the medical supplier and she's like, yeah, no, this is the only thing the good doctor didn't cover. And the medical supplier, who was like, what doctor? No, a doctor didn't donate this money to you. It was a man named Kirk Cameron. And like my first thought was like, all of these people are like violating HIPAA so bad. None of these people should be in the fucking medical field at all.
No.
You can't just say like, oh,
She gave her like an itemized receipt. She was like, the doctor donated $300. Your husband donated the $24,000. Like, at that point, she might as well print it out for her. Like, do you need a receipt, babe?
Yeah, it's fucking awful. Anyway, so like, yeah, he gives up his boat dream to help her parents, which like is fine. Like it's fine, I guess, but he should have been doing it to begin with. He never interacts with their parents, so like we don't know what their relationship is like, so who fucking knows?
I just can't imagine being in a relationship and hating my partner's parents so goddamn much that I'm like, I'm gonna buy a boat. Oh, they need a new, like, bed? Ah, oh, man, they get a new bed on my fucking new boat I'm getting. Like, Jesus Christ, man. He sucks so bad. That's the redemption arc? Oh my god. I hate evangelicals.
Yeah, so she realizes Caleb bought her parents the shit. She runs back to the fireplace fire station. That's what they call it. Not a fireplace. That's a different noun.
They actually don't like fires at that place.
I'm imagining an actual hearth. Like, she just, like, runs up and starts a fire to get him to come.
Dear Hera.
That's actually a better ending.
I would love if that was how this movie ended. So they get back together, they kiss. Put a pin in this kiss scene, because there's something we should talk about.
God,
put a pin in that kiss
oh my
scene.
fucking god.
Don't, we'll get there. He goes back and talks to his dad, and he's like, you know what? This whole thing saved my marriage.
You're skipping past the famous line?
What
the kiss
famous
scene
line?
when they look in? When the firemen look in?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, like, all the firemen are watching them make out, and then Michael's like, oh, no. Don't, there's nothing to see there. Caleb's starting a fire. And they're like, he's starting a fire? And he's like, he's starting a fire, but not that kind of fire. That's literally what the line is. It's so bad.
What does that imply? Because the movie's about making a relationship that's fireproof, so is he causing problems? Is he doing issues? Is he testing the marriage?
He's a bad kisser. That's the only logical explanation.
She's gonna finish that and be like, I hope you kept your computer, because,
Anyway, he talks to his dad, and he's like, you know what, Dad? I'm glad that you did this, and that you didn't give up on Mom. And he's like, okay, here's the thing, son. I was the one that wanted to divorce your mom, not the other way around. And she did the love dare on me. As if that is in any way a good or satisfying or,
if that, like,
it's nothing.
puts anything together, like, it doesn't explain anything.
It makes it worse.
Yeah.
And Caleb's like, oh no, I've been a dick to my mom all my life because I guess I thought that she wanted to divorce my dad. That's the reason I've been an asshole. And he goes and apologizes to her, and she's like, it's okay. It's not okay, but...
You know what I hate about this even more than, like, the text? But there's subtext of some of the things that he does, like, making dinner and, like, doing, like, little acts of service are not stereotypic evangelical, like, man things you're supposed to do. And I thought, it's delightful that, like, breaking down these stereotypes and showing that, making dinner for the person you love is just a good thing to do. And then for that to be like, just your mom wasn't making me dinner enough. She wasn't making me sandwiches enough when I was, playing League of Legends, and she came into the room brawless and gave me a sandwich. How's your day going? I'm sorry, I haven't referenced that ninja tweet. And it's my favorite.
Yes, you have.
Yes, we know what you're
On
talking
this
about, and I hate it.
podcast.
I love that ninja tweet so much.
We know you've referenced it on the
It's the
podcast.
greatest tweet ever.
So, at the end of the movie, they do a reaffirmation of faith where they reaffirm their vows, but they do it explicitly with Jesus there too. And it's, a beautiful ceremony, and they do it in the weird cross place that his dad was leaning on earlier in the movie. But before I turned this film off, I did take a second to write down some of the lyrics of the closing song.
Oh, no.
Which talk about how marriage is not something that you can just... It's like a house that you buy, and then you lock the door behind you, you throw away the key, and if you ever try to leave, may God send angels to guard the door.
That's prison! That's not a house! That's prison!
That's not how locks work.
Anyway, so that was Fireproof. Please, let's talk about the fun facts now, so we can not talk about the movie.
Yeah, oh my god.
Oh, so the famous fun fact for this movie is in that kiss scene. Kirk Cameron specifically said that he wouldn't kiss anyone but his wife. So in that scene, it's a silhouette of them both. And he's very clearly kissing another woman that is his wife. So, cool.
Also, can we just talk about how that just makes him a bad actor?
Yeah, I mean, he's not very much an actor. Yeah, like, that's just doing your job. I mean, like, if your partner... I'm sure that actors' partners are not, like, thrilled that they're making out with other people, but, like, it is just work.
Right, and like, I don't know. I think that there's maybe a reasonable line at a sex scene. Like, that would not be my personal line, but sure, fine. Absolutely, if that's your thing. But like a kiss? Come on.
It's a little.
You really think those two have chemistry? You're gonna watch the movie I watched and say, sparks are flying between these two.
Man, Josh's ninja reference actually is much more relevant than we first realized, huh? For people who don't understand esports, Ninja refuses to stream with any woman because he fucking sucks. But,
and Ninja just thinks that kickers should just make the goal. Just fucking kick the goal in. Do it.
Yeah, it's good. So fun fact, the Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital, where a lot of these scenes take place, was at the center of a criminal case in 1986, where one of the nurses there was indicted on 20 counts of aggravated assault and convicted of putting potassium chloride into a patient's body and killing them.
Jesus Christ!
Yep, fun. That's a fun nursing fact. You never inject potassium IV push. You always do it through a drip. Otherwise, you'll stop their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And this person did that. It seems like they probably had a lot of mental issues, but I guess this was a little bit of PR for Phoebe Putney.
Yeah, Munchausen by proxy.
Jesus, I was just gonna read some of the funky little days and try to end us on a love dare high, but I guess we're on an assault.
We'll end on that. I want to talk about one more thing about the production of this movie. So, did either of you look up what this movie's budget was?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we all know that this movie had a budget of $500,000, which is nothing. That is no money to make a commercially, a movie that's going to be distributed across the country in theaters. And it made $33.5 million, so by all accounts, a huge success. And
even if they put millions of dollars into marketing, this was just a dummy, insanely and that's just box office.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So the reason that budget is so low and that they had so much money for marketing is because basically every set was donated. Like, they just talked to a lot of people in Georgia, and they got all their sets and the hospital wing and everything donated. The Albany Fire Department donated its station and trucks. The Sherwood Baptist Church gave them a lot of property too, and the Sherwood Baptist Church is actually tied to a film production company that I was referencing earlier. These people called the Kendricks Brothers have a bunch of weird Christian movies that they produce, and they're I assume all terrible considering that Michael and Josh have seen them. But like, there were 1,200 volunteers along with a professional film crew of 8 who worked below rate to make this movie. So like, they just exploited fucking everyone to get that cost so low. It fucking sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. They didn't even spend millions on marketing. They just invited Christian publications to hang out at the set. So,
oh my god,
Jesus Christ! Like, this makes me so mad. This is.
Josh, you want to take us out on some choice love dare quotes?
Yeah, so there's some stuff about love that I think that you guys should know. And it starts out with some easy ones, like love is patient, love is kind, love is thoughtful, love is satisfied in God, and and also love meets sexual needs. Which, like, whoa! I just want to read you today's dare. If at all possible, try to initiate sex with your husband or wife today. Do this in a way that honors your spouse, in a way that they've implied to you about what they need from you sexually. Ask God to make this enjoyable for both of you, as well as the path to greater intimacy. Now, every time before I have sex, I do make sure to pray, just to make sure that I... God, please let this be the time. Let this be the
Dear
time.
God, please make that WAP happen tonight.
Let the WAP hit us tonight.
Sometimes I say his name, but I'm not really praying.
And then I just have to say this one from Love versus Lust. First sentence, end it now. End it now. Identify every object of lust in your life and remove it. Single out every lie you've swallowed in pursuing forbidden pleasure and reject it. Lust cannot be allowed to live in live in a back bedroom. It must be killed and destroyed today and replaced with the sure promises of God and a heart filled with his perfect love. Love forgives.
Fucking hell.
Why am I just imagining the scene in Sex and the City where Carrie throws her phone into the ocean, like all these like Christian men being like, divisive love.
This is one of my biggest problems with Christian relationships is that they just want to have a three-way with God, and all of them are about putting God before the marriage, and I don't know, y'all. I don't think that's a great way to have marriage.
No.
I'm not in one. Aaron, has that been what's really been helping you guys out? It's just putting God first?
In between them.
Yeah, in between you.
No, that's... No, I refuse to allow my partner to be in the same room with a man that's not me. So...
Can we really quick touch on the Love Dare? Because the Love Dare was written by these brothers who directed this movie only a year prior. So I wanted to be super clear. This was a 2-hour commercial for their book.
Oh, this is perfect.
Michael, I adore you, and we've had a lot of conversations about, like, what love in society should look like, what partners should be like, how that you should treat other people. I don't want to fucking write a book with you about dating advice. That seems like my last thing I want to do.
Yeah, we're pretty close, and I'm sorry, I don't want to write a relationship, love, and sex book with you.
I don't want to write about how you should get rid of all of your lust with my brother.
No, not so particularly.
Weird. It's so weird.
Oh, let's rate this fucking film.
Review this, yeah.
I'm gonna give this one Pornhub opening theme song.
That sounded more like a Star Wars thing than the Pornhub song. I'm sorry.
I would love if Aaron thinks that Star Wars is Pornhub and no one's told him otherwise.
Yeah, I love porn. Darth Vader's my favorite porn star.
Like, you just found it illegally to watch there, so you think that's what in the opening?
I'm going to give this in the fourth station of the cross, Jesus meets his mother, because thankfully Jesus was a lot nicer to his mom than Kirk Cameron was to his.
You remember when Jesus told his mom to fuck off and he wants to talk to his dad?
I am going to give this one 2-hour-long infomercial because that's all this movie was. Beginning, middle, and end. This is just dining out on their own work. And you know what? Game gotta recognize game, I guess.
Get that bag.
Yeah. Never
Get
stop
that bag,
hustling.
I guess.
Never stop hustling.
Josh, do you want to explain what we're doing next week?
Oh, no.
Okay, so this is what we talked about. This is the me and Aaron little adventure, correct? Yeah, so Michael has been removed from the studio.
I've been booted.
We have forcibly removed him because we're watching Gods and Generals, which is an absolutely terrible Civil War movie that's approximately 18 hours long. And this is to celebrate our good country and all of the good things that it's done. That's a lie. This is an absolutely terrible movie, and this is the only time I've ever felt prepared with my degree to discuss something that we've discussed on this podcast.
Yes, and listeners, I want to be clear, we did not kick Michael out because he's not, like, a history person. Michael was like, I don't want to watch a fucking 3.5 hour long Confederate propaganda movie, and we were like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I actually love history. I just, I'm on the record several times on this podcast saying, I'm not going to watch that. So
Michael has a limit of runtime. If it reaches a certain point, Michael's agent gives us a call. He doesn't even talk to us personally. It's just his agent is like, listen, $3 million and maybe I can talk him into it. And Aaron and I just don't have that. But a little thing you guys don't know about, we pay Michael $400,000 an episode. And it's worth it.
Worth every penny. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, we don't make
he does have a
any
very
money.
good agent.
And I do have TikTok brain, so I can only watch one thing for so long.
And that's why my next pick is going to be one TikTok.
Don't tempt us. Gentlemen, when we're not torturing each other with the worst possible pieces of media imaginable, where can people find you on the internet?
Before I do that one, I just want to announce that the Bible Boys will have a sticker coming out soon. I commissioned a great artist who I will plug their Twitter, which is what they asked me to plug. And we're just going to make a little red bubble. If you like some of the famous quotes that we have said, we're just going to pop a couple up there. Not to really make money, just because I think they look awesome and I want them. This is mostly so I can... This is the most expensive way for me to get things I want, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're looking for my great content, follow me at Green History on Twitter, where I will be talking about baseball pitchers taking out their penises to prove that they don't have gunk on it.
Wow. Maybe I should watch baseball. If you would like to find me on Twitter and find all of these funny, pithy, as one of my friends called it, quirky gay humor, you can follow me at Michael's Diamonds.
You can follow me on Twitter at AaronSXL, mostly complaining about politics and healthcare. But I did recently write a blog post about collaborative world-building games for the Story Engine blog, so definitely go to my Twitter and check that out. You can also find the other podcast I do at Mortified Pod, where me and my friend Layla talk about media that we both like. We're doing Yuri on Ice this week, so happy Pride, everyone.
Yay!
So that'll be fun. But in the meantime, if our description of Fireproof made you cry, like it did definitely make me cry, just remember that is okay. It is okay to cry, because even Jesus wept. We'll see you all next time.
Best one yet, bud.
Oh, good. Yeah, sorry.